Hello and welcome to the last episode of the W Word. I'm feeling quite emotional. It's been quite the season. We've had everyone from the world's strongest man right the way through to Busted's Matt Willis. And I've been joined all along by the wonderful Kimberley, our resident expert who really does know what she's talking about. Not that I don't.
Hi there, I'm Kimberley Wilson, chartered psychologist, and I'm here to bring you the wellness fact separate from the wellness fiction.
And I'm Anna Whitehouse to just fill in the gaps. But yeah, before we carry on, this podcast would not be possible without Arla LactoFREE, which has been helping you find your inner strength. Because without that, especially in these, as every CEO across the land has said, these unprecedented times, that's what we need right now. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce our first guest, our last guest.
Oh,
You're bookending the whole season. It's Ashley Roberts.
coming in with the clothes here.
It's beautiful. Outline.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Hi.
I mean, I want to do your special Wikipedia entry, which is you're a singer, you're a dancer, you're a Strictly Star, Pussycat Doll. I mean, the list kind of goes on, Ashley.
Wearing a lot of hats. Yeah. Sometimes people ask me, like, what do you do? I'm like, I don't know anymore. I'm not sure.
Well, we work together at Heart, so I've
Yes.
seen you every day going in, you're saying getting up at 5 a.m. So
Yeah.
there's little sleep in there. But I'm going to put quite a big topic on the table to kick off. 2020.
How's it been for you?
How's it been for you?
Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's been a lot going on, hasn't there? I mean, yeah, what a ride. Lockdown was interesting, but I used my kitchen more than I ever have in my entire life. My mom is like, who is my child? I've been baking and cooking, and yeah, I tried to use my time as wisely as I could when I wasn't going insane, wondering what's happening in the world. But
What were you cooking?
okay, so I kind of started this thing talking about heart radio. I get up and do morning breakfast Monday through Friday. And because I'm American, I was like, why don't I bake some American treats? Because it kind of reminds me of home. So every Sunday, I would bake an American dessert, as we call them, and bring that into the studio and have them all snack on it. So I did like peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. I did a Boston cream pie, like all kinds of crazy things. I wouldn't say I was like Chef Boyardee Betty Crocker up in here, but I gave it a go.
Did you get on the banana bread trend?
I did. I had to do it once.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I feel like I was on the outskirts if I wasn't trying to.
But how were you really?
Dive
I
in.
mean, I think a lot of people used banana bread as a front for not being able to explain how they were really feeling. There's a lot of banana
Yeah.
bread and very few people talking about what was behind that bread.
It was a whole thing. There was banana bread and loo roll
Either
were the trends.
obsessed with what's going in or obsessed with what's coming out.
Exactly. Right. It's a whole circle of life.
It's a whole anxiety response.
Thanks for always bringing that fact to the fiction,
I'm here to
Kimberly.
help.
Really appreciate
Right.
it. But you must have felt quite anxious, I suppose, at the beginning. Like you were saying, like
It was all the uncertainty of like what is going on, and it was happening everywhere. My mom is back in America, and we feel at times like this very far away from each other, not knowing really what's happening. As things have kind of started to move forward a bit, but yeah, of course, it was. I think it's just a collective consciousness. It was like what is happening, a bit of paranoia in a sense of like we don't know what we're up against, this invisible virus. So yeah, it's been a ride.
But then when you go into the studio, I don't know about whether you
Yeah.
found that, then you would actually get that sense of perspective almost, not, pushing your own thoughts to the side, but you would hear from a lot of people who were going through a lot as well.
Yeah, I think it really connected us with everyone. I first of all, like Andy Everett, who's the head of Global, was like, yeah, you're a key worker now. I was like, wait a second, what? Like I've gone from latex to being a key worker. Like, Mom, you should be so proud. I was like, how did this happen? Yeah, so I was in the studio. We were all socially distanced and had our little sections, and we were there Monday through Friday trying to bring the feel good, which is the name of the brand, but trying to bring information to people, but keep it positive but also, informative, and then bring some music that might be uplifting. And for some people, like I would be done at 10 a.m. and go home and be in my flat on my own. And then to have radio or to have that kind of made you feel like there was presence within the space.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of amazing messages just being like, thank you for helping us during this time, making us feel like we were connected to a community. So that was actually really really nice. And it gave me a bit of structure, which I was extremely grateful for, because I know a lot of people are really going through some tough times right now. So, I'm very grateful for the job that I have.
I remember there was one guy who messaged in saying, can you shout out to my wife, who is a nurse on the front line, and my sister, who is working on a COVID ward. And I was sort of sitting there going, and I'm just going to play Bruno Mars on Heart.
Right?
And I'm a key worker too.
Right. It just puts it into perspective.
Yeah,
You're
it's not, it's not
belittling
belittling anyone's experience. I think that's the important thing, But the other thing I realised was that your tour was put back, Pussycat Doll's tour, right?
Yeah,
how did that feel?
Well, I mean, it's what needed to be done, and the health and safety of others is what comes first. We were very excited after 10 years to be able to get this off the ground, but Miss Rona said no. So I know it's another year back, but that's okay. Miss Rona came in and said, not this year.
I call my sourdough starter Rona.
Yeah.
In honor.
Yeah. So, I mean, the girls, we just want to make sure everybody is all right. I think that was obviously what the main concern is. And next year is just another year. And then we can celebrate in a big way. We want people to be able to come to a stadium and feel comfortable and feel safe. So it was the right thing. Yeah. It's been 2020's been an interesting one.
Yeah, I think we can say that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to pull a little bit of a segue from coronavirus to activated charcoal. Bet you did not see that coming.
Little left turn there.
I mean, we're kind of joking, but the W word, this podcast, we're really about reclaiming all these buzzwords, actually like decoding what are these fads, because actually I think a lot of people in the context of the pandemic right now, they are searching for something to help with anxiety, to help with, mental health, physical health, because we are all so contained. So, we're going to put activated charcoal on the table because I don't know about you, but I see it in everything at the moment. Like burger, I saw it in a burger bun the other day and I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I've seen the burger buns, lemonade, biscuits. All kinds of things.
What have you tried it in?
Well, the first time I even heard of activated charcoal, I was hiking Machu Picchu with a bunch of people, and
casual,
as you do. I was hiking through the Andes, and my stomach, just FYI, maybe a little TMI, was just not fully digesting the food that was happening during the hike. And a friend was like, "You got to try this charcoal. It will help you clear out some stuff that might be going on." And I was like, okay, so that was the first time I actually heard of it and tried it. That was years ago. But then, living in Los Angeles, I mean, they're all on that kind of wellness trend. And so you could find charcoal all of a sudden and everywhere. It was ice cream, like I said, lemonade, and like you said, buns. So, I take it now as a supplement just to kind of keep myself clean and detox.
So were you gnawing on it when you were in the Andes? Were you just like a cave woman?
That sounds so awesome, actually. I wish I was, but it was just in a little capsule that I swallowed with some water.
I imagine you with your bare hands just taking it from the rock.
Yeah. And my mouth was all black and I was hiking the Andes I got
clawing your way up.
Yeah.
Right?
This is the Pussycat Doll. She's taking it up the mountain. Ain't no mountain high enough in the background.
It's a good track.
Well, I've kind of done, this is why Kimberley's here, because she is the science person and I'm the Google person, and I've done my bit and she's going to do her bit. So it could basically, I didn't realise it can be made up of anything from coconut shells to sawdust.
It's any kind of carbon.
Okay.
So, any kind of carbon.
So we got
anything so coconut shells, sawdust, wood, any kind of carbon source can be used to make activated charcoal.
Interesting. I was using charcoal in the jungle for eyeliner at one point. And I was like, that's, I didn't swallow it that time.
So it goes back to the 1800s, is that right?
Yeah.
I say that as if I know that. Yes. So I've done some research, some historical research on the activated charcoal.
Dusted off my medical textbook.
Turn the page.
Apparently it began in the 1800s. But I mean, is it, what is it? What does it do?
So it's used to help people who have been literally intoxicated with a poison. So what it is charcoal that's heated to a really high temperature. And what that does is to change the structure of the carbon of the charcoal to make it much more porous and much more absorbent. And then you have to use it in fairly high quantities for people who have perhaps accidentally ingested, over-the-counter remedies or drugs. And what it does is to literally absorb what it comes into contact with. So you have to have it, if you've taken, say, too many aspirin, you have to take it within half an hour or so of the aspirin in order for it to absorb it before it gets absorbed into the body.
And will it know to grab on the aspirin? What if you also took something else? Just asking
it doesn't know. You can't be like, please, let's be selective about it. It will just absorb anything that it comes into contact with, essentially. I mean, some things it doesn't have an effect on. So alcohol, it doesn't have an effect on, not very much. So which really wouldn't make sense if you kind of had a big drink and then took some charcoal so you didn't get drunk.
What can you take for the alcohol?
Don't drink as much.
Just asking for a friend. What can you take for the alcohol? Is there something to soak that up?
Water and sleep.
Sleep. Okay.
And so the thing is, it's not selective. So it will absorb anything that's kind of in your stomach, which makes it a risk for people who perhaps take it too soon after taking their oral contraceptive. Essentially, it just absorbs what it comes into contact with. So that's why it's used in hospitals. If you've taken an overdose of, say, painkillers, they want to give it to you within about 2 hours of you having taken it. Much less, the longer you leave it, the less effective it becomes. So if you take it, say, within half an hour of an overdose, it can absorb up to 70% of that drug, of that toxin in the stomach. But it has to come into contact with it. So if someone has taken an overdose maybe 3 or 4 hours before, if it's already been absorbed into the bloodstream, the charcoal can't absorb it back in. So it's really about what's in contact in the stomach with it.
So why do people use activated charcoal toothpaste? Like, what is that doing?
So some parts of the internet will say that it's good for brightening and whitening your teeth. And to an extent it is, because it's kind of abrasive. But the thing is, if you use it too much, it's too abrasive and it can actually damage the enamel on your teeth and actually make them more stained, particularly if it kind of gets stuck in the plaque.
This is why we're doing the podcast, Ashley.
No, because I thought it was like, I've been eating kind of crappy. Like, let me take a little charcoal to help cleanse out this system.
So you have to just be using it right. So actually, Ashley and I have just been using it wrong, because I've been using it like you, just casually just taking it, during the day. And actually, it's just, I don't eat that much broccoli. So it's taking everything.
We're just ignorant.
It's a parasite
over here, jumping on the trend like, charcoal this, charcoal that, when it's actually not doing anything good.
Well, this is the thing when something gets taken out of its context, right? So it is a detoxifier if you are properly toxified in terms of being poisoned. But detox outside of a poisoning, outside of a kind of clinical setting, doesn't really make sense, because your body has several organs to deal with detoxification, right? Your liver, your kidneys, your skin, your gut, all of these are detoxification organs. And so they're much more sophisticated at doing it and being selective about what it detoxifies than charcoal will be.
When you see Ashley next pap just gnawing on a charcoal rock, going, I've taken it half an hour after. She's like, Central London. Just like, pardon, black mouth. You'll know that she has listened to you. Okay. Are you kind of convinced though, Ashley? Like, what are your thoughts? Like,
I just think I've been completely using it wrong. I was told it was kind of a, like, again, detoxifying or even helping with digestion, I thought it was. So I thought it was kind of going in there and help cleansing out like the gut. But that is not it at all. It seems like
every day's a school day in the W word. It really is.
So there's a little kind of tiny bit of evidence that it might help with gas. But again, for most people, gas isn't a problem. Like, you can just fart and move on with your life, right?
Just fart and move on, guys. You know what I mean?
That is going to be our slogan t-shirt.
Basically, yeah. Don't have your charcoal, just fart and move on.
Just not in a studio, though.
We're not in enclosed spaces. Maybe we can make a special case.
Yeah.
So I suppose I was kind of wanting to know, we've obviously covered like activated charcoal, and I feel like we know how to use it now. Gnawing on the bone. But what other things have you implemented into your wellness routine, like to keep you going? Because you've got quite a manic schedule, even when everyone else is locking down.
Yeah.
And like you said, probably didn't have a schedule anymore. You were still 5 a.m. getting up, entertaining the nation, and baking for the nation, it sounds. Which, I feel there's a link there somewhere. We don't want to psychoanalyze, but So, what other things have you done to keep yourself, I suppose, going just in terms of wellness and what's your routine?
Well, fitness is a part of my lifestyle in general. And, it is obviously for physical health, but for me, it's also my mental health. Moving my body, getting my heart pumping makes me feel better. So I kept that alive. I was doing, workouts in my flat. I know some people are like, oh gosh, like you're working out. But this is what I did on my own in order to keep myself sane.
Yeah.
So, and then, there's great YouTube yoga classes I would do. I took a course on psychology. I just really tried to, but then there was days where I felt like I didn't want to move off the couch and I just watched Netflix all day. So it was, it went in waves, and I tried to allow whatever was present to kind of just be there. But, I've had some amazing mentors in my life that have handed over a few tools that helped me throughout the process, and having amazing friends to be able to reach out to. My mom.
Come back to the mentors. Who were they? Can you mention them?
Yeah, so I've got a couple friends. One of them's name is Jody Shield. She's a life coach. One of my other friends' name is Emma Lucy, and she's into energy work and stuff and meditations. And these are things that help me. I don't know if it's for everybody. For me, it really keeps me level-headed, because sometimes my brain can bounce around all over the place. So if I can kind of get grounded, or if I can do a workout or reach out to a friend that can kind of give me a little bit of advice, it just resets my brain. I think that's it really, is just.
So their advice is sort of meditation, exercise. Do they have any specific nuggets of advice that keep you going?
Well, it's acknowledging what's present. So if you're having a bit of stress, a bit of anxiety, it's acknowledging that, not trying to necessarily push it away or push it down. And then kind of sitting with it and then trying to choose, another thought or another way of thinking about the position that you're in, and listening to good music, turning off the news for a bit, doing some dancing. I mean, I just sometimes was bouncing around my flat, to music.
Can we also just talk about you walking out of the water with 2 radio muffs in your bikini top?
That I was trying to give Miss Amanda Holden. She's like, what is happening? So Amanda Holden started this thing where she was putting her muffs in fun places. That sounds really bad, but it's true actually. And I was like, I'm going to do this on my holiday. So I took the muffs and did a little shot in my kitty.
It went down really well. That's what I'm going to say.
It's just trying to enhance. Well, I've got little titties, so I was trying to give them a little boost.
You do you, honey.
Thanks, girl. Yeah.
I love though what you've said sort of very much about the mental and the physical. You've seemed to sort of bring them both together. And I think a lot of people see wellness, the W word, as this thing that's on the horizon that you need to access in a white building somewhere. But actually it's the daily things, like you said, watching Netflix maybe on one day.
Yeah, you just got to kind of listen to yourself. But, I've had a lot of history of mental health in my family. So I feel like I've also then with having that reached out and try to find tools or people that can kind of help me. I've got a tribe, honey, of people I'm like, okay, I got to dial this one right now. But they've been amazing friends to kind of help me through. But yeah.
And dancing as well. You dance all the time on social media. You're just you're never stopping.
Wait, TikTok became my BFF in lockdown, guys. I was like, what am I going to do with all of this time? And I was like, I'm going to figure out this app. And now I love it because it just can take up a bit of time, and it's, it's creative. You can learn dances or whatever.
And so much with the dances, it's so much about being connected, isn't it? It's a kind of a shared chain of things. And when we're feeling particularly isolated, it's a nice reminder that there are people out there doing the same thing as you. That
some doing it better than others, and that's I think really that's been the best bit of it. You're like,
that's what's funny about it.
My dad tried it, and I was like, oh, Daddy's on TikTok.
I love it.
I love that.
Makes me so happy.
And, if it's not your dad. I wonder, Kimberley, from your side, because we haven't really asked you. This is our last episode. What's your wellness routine? I'm sorry to just literally have got to this now, but obviously we've heard from Ashley. But what's you're the expert. How do we fix the things?
All the things.
Just the things.
It's a broad spectrum. How much time do we have?
Partly because I'm an uber nerd. I know all the theory, and also I try to walk my talk. And this is what I I try to school my clients in as well. And it's why I wrote my book, which is about giving people practical...
What's your book called? Just so
How to Build a Healthy Brain. Essentially, my priority, as you might guess, is all about mental health. And I don't know, possibly similar to you, I have quite a big history of neurodegenerative and psychological disorders in my family. So my whole emphasis is really on taking care of my brain as well as I can. So, and in an evidence-based way. So I try to move regularly. I really emphasize, for example, omega-3. So I eat oily fish 2 or 3 times a week, leafy green vegetables. I manage stress very, very well. I don't do things that I don't like. I don't talk to people I don't like. Really try and take care of that. And
it's really good for us
managing
to know.
my relationships.
Yeah.
I'm
still taking notes over here. I'm like, yes, more leafy greens happening.
And so, yeah, so that's my priority, and just trying to make sure that I take care of my brain, because essentially I don't think you can have health without mental health. And so we need to start thinking about the organ that underlies all of that.
Are there any slightly strange kind of wellness things you do? I mean, not puppy yoga, we've covered that. And we've done goat yoga, actually, a lot of animal yogas. But is there anything else that you do that you found that's helped?
I don't know, possibly not strange, because I am such a nerd that I will kind of go to a journal and look for the latest meta-analysis to see whether it's worth doing or not. Something that I haven't done that does have good evidence is cryotherapy. I just can't get on board with cold showers.
Oh my God, I started that.
So I use saunas instead.
So have you heard of Wim Hof?
Yeah.
So I started doing cold showers, doing like a 2-minute cold shower to kind of just boost my mood. And it does make you feel exhilarated afterwards. At first, it's a bit like shock to the system, but then you kind of get into it. And now that we're slowly getting out of lockdown, I've been starting cryotherapy as well. So when you just said that, I was like, so that helps with brain health as well.
There's really good evidence for cryotherapy in terms of it reducing your stress response, your fight or flight response, improving your parasympathetic response, which is your rest and digest relaxation state, and also improving your immunity.
If you are listening to this and you've skipped a few episodes, we have done a whole cryotherapy episode with the world's strongest man, actually. He has his own cryotherapy chamber.
I've heard about these. Yeah, they're expensive.
You skip along to the episode with Eddie Hall. He took up the whole sofa with muscle mass.
But if you can't have your own chamber, then cold showers, cold baths, or even wild swimming, pond swimming or sea swimming.
Well, I think that's what surprised me is I think we see wellness as this sort of nice thing to have. It's like a bonus ball, if you've got time for it, great. We don't actually see it as exercise as wellness. We see that separately almost. It's like, oh no, that's a really serious thing to do.
Exercise is one of the most robust ways to reverse age-related brain aging. And this is the thing, a lot of people that I work with that will end up talking about or thinking about exercise in terms of aesthetic and just, wanting to use it in order to change their bodies. And that can be really difficult, but it's not a very good motivator, because it's really hard to do that. But if you're doing it because you want to feel better.
If you end up looking like Ashley, I'm in.
No, but girl, I do it because it's also a part of my lifestyle, but it is for my mental health. I feel better about myself, connected to my body.
Your brain's getting stronger, it's getting bigger, you're getting more connections, you're reducing your risk of Alzheimer's disease, you're releasing endorphins, all sorts of incredible things are happening when you move.
Because I remember going on this one time on a wellness retreat. I went to my only one, and
she says
I really was struggling, so I sort of went on my own to give myself a little bit of me time away from the children and everything. And then by sort of day 2, I was on WhatsApp trying to get in touch with the world. But I was surprised by was the number of cancer patients at the wellness retreat who were there, exactly what you've said. I think the W word, wellness, often gets put as sort of almost spa treatments. It's quite a soft thing, but actually this wellness retreat was treating people with quite serious conditions. So I think that's something that throughout this series I've enjoyed decoding, is like taking back the word. It is not this fluffy
but also
industry.
It's not one unitary thing. It's not like, to be wellness, you have to be drinking kale smoothies. It's actually about shifting and organizing your life to help you just feel good in a really integrated way, and to get away from this separation between the brain and the body as if they're completely independent from each other, which just doesn't make sense.
Just watch Ashley's TikToks and you'll see her mental and physical align every beat.
I'm going to put hashtag wellness now under every TikTok.
My last question was, where do you kind of find your wellness inspiration? I'm assuming it's not TikTok, but
Or maybe it is.
Well, my mom was in the 80s a step aerobics instructor,
of course,
private trainer. So not only with my dancing, I also had my mom and I's relationship was like hiking and doing workouts together. So actually it's been instilled in my life since I was young, not realizing that that's actually why I was doing it, is because it helps my mental health. And then again, having the history that I do have in my family, it was also like, okay, I kind of need to educate myself on what's going on here. And I sort of just started reaching out to different avenues of knowledge to try and figure out what are tools that I can apply to myself to help with my mental health. So it goes across the board, really.
What's the weirdest thing you've tried out in the name of wellness?
In the name of wellness, I did do puppy yoga. That was interesting.
Oh, wow.
Which, I mean, I just wanted to
come
roll on the
before
ground.
Or after goat yoga?
Goat yoga. I don't know which one. I've seen goat yoga. I haven't tried that yet.
Puppy yoga.
Yeah, well, it was, I thought it was going to be exciting for my little pup, but he just weed on everything. And then I was more concerned I was not namasteing, because I was like, you just weed all over the yoga mats. Like, this is not how I saw it going.
This is not Zen.
This is not Zen. So I was wiping up, from the floor, but yeah, I'm trying to think what else.
I think that's enough.
That's all right.
I think
okay.
I think we're good.
We'll top it
Like,
there then.
Namaste. Now, this podcast would not be possible without Arla LactoFREE. And we've spoken to a lot of our guests about sort of lactose intolerance and sort of finding your inner strength to be the best version of yourself. We were saying earlier, all these trends and wellness is really about trying to oil the machine almost, so that whether it's cryotherapy, whether it's a sauna, how you feel afterwards is kind of important. So have you tried any of the Arla LactoFREE products?
I have, yeah. Moving over to London, I mean, back in America, I had iced tea regularly, but over here, getting up and having a nice hot tea in the morning has become my daily routine, and I just love it. And I have done my tea with the lactose-free milk, and I love it. I mean, it's great. And I've even switched over recently to green tea. And this might sound a bit strange, but because I'm American, I'm like, I can switch things up. But I've been doing green tea with a bit of the lactose-free milk. I know that might sound strange,
I'm not sure
but
I'm sold
really
on
like
that.
it. Green tea with milk in the morning, I really enjoy it, actually. Because you do black tea in the morning, like Earl Grey or whatever, with some milk. So I thought I'm going to switch it up and do it with green, and I kind of like it.
We have had, what was it that Matt Willis said? Frozen lacto-free strawberry yogurts with seeds on it.
Yeah.
That's nice. You pop them out of the little pot and have that for breakfast. That's quite good.
That sounds
I've
lovely.
offered up my carbonara recipe with the soft cheese.
Yeah.
And now we've got something that I'm not sure I'm going to try. Green tea with Arla's lacto-free milk. I might just go with the milk on that one.
You might like it. You never know.
So really kind of bringing it back to gut health and going with your gut instinct. And I think that's very much linked with finding your inner strength. And, we were chatting a little bit backstage, BTS, about the confidence to get on stage, the confidence to go, hi, I'm a Pussycat Doll, or hi, I am I'm a key worker, mum. Where do you find your inner strength?
Ooh, girl. Okay. That's, it's interesting because doing radio, I didn't walk into that feeling confident. I felt very vulnerable, very insecure, very like out of my element. People think, oh, you're on the stage, like you have all this confidence, but that's something I've sort of known since a young age. So it comes naturally in a sense because it was a passion of mine, which then grew to the stage, which then I love performing. So that feels quite natural for me. And when I get on stage, I feel confident.
When
in
did you
that
first
sense.
get on the stage? How old were you?
Oh God. I mean, my first recital was like, I think I was 4. I wasn't doing much. I was tap dancing away, thinking I was on beat, not quite sure. But yeah, so that started at a really young age. And so by the time the Pussycat Dolls came and became what everybody knows it to be, I had already been, on stages dancing and singing for quite some time.
Feeling confident
Within that space. But, walking into radio for the first time, doing a West End show that I did for the first time last year, I was feeling very scared and very insecure. And that, I think, stuff that you're doing that you may feel fearful towards, but will help you grow. It's about being in that space and allowing that vulnerability to be present and to work through it. Because as time goes on, you will build that confidence, but it's just being patient in that space that feels really wobbly and like insecure. But it takes time. You've got to stick with something to really start to feel like you can be confident within it, I think.
Can you describe the little girl, age 4, on stage, just for our listeners? What was she wearing?
Oh,
what was she doing?
I had, oh God. Well, I've had several different kinds of outfits, but that one particularly, I think I was in a tutu.
Obviously.
Yeah, I was in a little tutu.
I'm feeling sequins.
There wasn't many sequins at that time, but it definitely over time it escalated, and we hit top notch with that. But yeah, I just had a little tutu on, but I was loving life. My parents took me out of dance, and I did gymnastics for a little while, and then immediately was like, no, she needs to go back into dancing. But it was, it's the thing about America, our styles that we do are different over here in Europe. You have so much accessibility to Latin and ballroom and all of these cool things that I did get to learn on Strictly. But in where I grew up, it was very much like tap, ballet, jazz kind of stuff. So, and I enjoyed hip hop. I was booty popping. I liked it.
And so what you described is obviously you have found inner strength even when you've maybe felt out of your depth. Like,
yeah, I kind of throw myself into situations and different opportunities that I feel really uncomfortable with. But I just, you've got to trust that it will build. You just got to stick with it. But yeah, I've done a few things where lots of things where I didn't really know what I was doing. I'll just figure it out. Hopefully, I'm not sure. I was even telling you BTS that I did a link one time on the radio that was not English. It was not.
Can you reenact it for us?
Oh God. Oh no.
So we're on air. Okay, I'm going to be Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden.
Yeah. I was talking, I think, about Robbie Williams or something, and I was like, Robbie Williams, and then he goes and then he wants something or other. Okay, and we're going to go on to the next link now, because that is not words. Yeah, that happened live on radio.
But I think in owning those moments, I think a lot of people can't. I think they see that as failure. And actually, do you find that you've built up maybe this strength by being in one of the biggest girl bands? I mean, that is a lot of pressure. And do you feel that you're now more able to follow that kind of gut instinct, your inner strength? Are you able to make decisions quicker, do you think? Do you know what's right and wrong more instinctively?
It's interesting because I feel like if I tune into my gut, my heart, it usually gives me an answer. Even if I feel fearful of doing something, it's like, yeah, but this might feel good. It's my analytical ego brain that sometimes goes in there and plays little tricks on me. But even, starting the dolls, doing interviews, I was really scared and really nervous. And now I sit down and I can just have a conversation with somebody and feel really natural. But that took time as well, so it is all of it something that you just have to stick with to kind of build the confidence.
But what about I'm a Celebrity?
Oh, honey.
It's like, this is your life. Like, just everything you've ever done.
Yeah,
please discuss.
Speak to me about your bug trauma.
Honey, those cockroaches are stanky. Bugs. I mean, what? All kind. I ate camel penis. I raw fish eyes. 100-year-old fermented duck egg smoothie. And
Fermented foods.
Fermented, yeah. Is that good? Is that good for the brain?
All wellness.
Little did I know.
These were all wellness trends.
Dunked myself in fish guts. Slept in a bed of rats.
So the low and the high. I want the lowest point and your highest point on the jungle.
There was lowest point. Hard to choose. So there was I think so you go out and do a trial, and I got at the very end dunked in fish guts. And then you think, okay, I can go back and rinse in the waterfall or the pond because that's all we have, but actually I had to wait and then get into a van that was on air conditioning, and it's very, very hot. Then sit in that, drive to it. And by the time I got there, the guts had all dried up against my skin and my clothes. And they were like, well, actually you can't go in the waterfall because that might damage the ecosystem. So you can go in this pond. So I dipped in the pond, and that was like the way I could actually cleanse myself, which didn't feel very clean.
No.
So that was kind of challenging.
That sounds like the wellness retreat I went on. People pay really good money for that, actually.
I know, right?
The fish guts wrap.
It's just a little, I was stinky for a few days, but it really was. I mean, that was challenging. All of it was really, to be honest. There's so many elements that you're up against that's quite challenging.
Was there there must have been some good stuff in there.
God, yeah. I mean, I did things that I never thought I could do. Like, I walked away feeling so strong within myself. Like, wow, I walked in thinking I'm not going to be able to handle this. And actually, I did all right. And I met some amazing people. The last challenge, if you make it to the end, you get to do this really cool, like, water sport challenge. I think it was tornado. I can't think of what it's called. Anyways, it's so much fun. Like, they were blasting you with this water, and you had to like go up against it. With David Hay was like going through it, and I'm getting splashed and fell back like 10 feet, but I loved it. That was really fun. That was like a wipeout, like an adult, you get to go do a wipeout. Like, how fun would that be with friends? I don't know. I think that sounds fun. So yeah, that was cool.
How long were you in the jungle for?
I was there all the way. I thought I was going to be out in the beginning, and I was there till the end. So that was 3.5 weeks. About 3.5 weeks.
That's a long time.
But it feels long when you're in there.
Eating cockroaches and like bathing in fish guts.
Yeah.
Talking about, sorry, I didn't really mean to move that on to when was the last time you'd followed your gut instinct. But I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is, actually.
So from a fish gut bath to following your gut, what an image. When did you last follow your gut instinct? Like, when did you last go, yeah, I'm going to do that, or I'm not going to do that?
I probably with radio, I was nervous about walking into that space, never doing it before. Again, my schedule had always been quite free and floaty, and this was like waking up at 5 a.m. Monday through Friday. But there was something just within my gut that was like, no, but this is going to be stability and structure for you, which I haven't had in my life, actually, really. I mean, since I was really young, because I've been in the entertainment industry, it's really quite of like fickle, and it comes and goes. So to have structure in my life was quite cool, but I didn't know if I was going to like it or enjoy it. So
do you remember getting the call when you got the job?
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is real. Now I'd set that alarm clock, honey. Oh.
Don't want to make it weird or anything, but I went for the job too.
No, you didn't.
I did, babes. But I followed my gut and, said no, and then they gave it to you. No, they didn't.
You've got your little Sunday slot. You're having fun.
So this is like me, like, working through my trauma with you. No, I'm joking. But, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, you can feel the beans coming to life. I'm so happy for you.
When I start doing really angry TikToks later.
It's like an intervention now. It's like a mediation session. Like,
can you really help us?
But I think I don't know about you, but I think you get to a point in your life where you do go from going, okay, it's not about me anymore. It's like you genuinely can park what you need and then go, oh my goodness, I'm so happy for that person.
Yeah.
And because you can see that they're following a path, like exactly what you've said. It's like you needed stability. You'd been all over the place.
Yeah, it's amazing to have that awareness too, because really your only competition is yourself. Like, so when you look outside and you see other people doing well, having that within yourself, like, oh God, I want to be so grateful for them, and then that brings that energy back to you as well.
Yeah,
it's so important to be happy for other people. That kind of empathic happiness it's just nourishing, isn't it? It's just good. Like, I want to be happy for you. I want you to have the best for you, because to see someone else glow, it absolutely does come back, I think.
Definitely. But have you ever gone again?
Definitely.
I'm to the dark side.
I never forget when one of my friends didn't get a job, and her other friend just went, "Congratulations on your achievement." Just so, like, when she was trying to be happy, I was like, no, come on,
it's okay,
lift her up. Have you ever not gone with your gut? Have you ever gone against it and actually perhaps regretted it?
Well, I wouldn't say regretted it, but then just been like, yeah, you should have listened to yourself, because there was a little bit of signs there, and then you went against it, and that just reaffirms that, like, I think it's tuning. But, sometimes within that, though, there's always a lesson learned. So
Where was that? What specific? Who was it? Was it a guy? Because she's getting cagey.
What was his name?
Yeah. No, but yeah, I think it's good to listen to your gut. Just say that. Just say that.
Now, just Kimberley, for the benefit of everyone listening at home, everybody talks about gut instinct, but is it a thing? Is it a medical thing? Do we follow it?
Can we locate it?
And does it sort of help? I suppose the question is, does it help with kind of mental clarity? I think especially on a more serious note, in the context of the pandemic we're in right now, following your instinct, with how to navigate day to day, even like going to the shops can feel confusing right at the moment. So, what is the science behind that, I suppose?
So, I mean, I love gut instinct. And really it's about understanding how so much of your psychology is embodied. And that's why I always want to get away from the idea of health being neck up or neck down. Actually, so much of your psychology is from your body. It's really embodied, and there's lots of neurological connections, chemical connections, hormonal connections between those two things. And what we think about as gut instinct is really that unconscious information that you've been taking in forever, since you were teeny tiny, that's become embodied, that you kind of feel and move through. And then you recognize it on a conscious level. So it's almost your body having held on to a memory of something, having held on to information from earlier in your life, kind of laid that down in your neurology, and then you get a sense of it psychologically and cognitively, and that's your gut instinct. And so really it's kind of embodied wisdom, and you only can hold on to it and get a sense of it if you're listening to your body, if you feel connected to your body. And that's why things like being in your body through movement are so important for helping you to get that sense of yourself as integrated and complete as kind of one being, I think.
Well, seeing as this is our last podcast, it's been quite an emotional journey. We've gone from world's strongest man to Pussycat Doll. That's quite a
wide spectrum.
Quite literally a wide spectrum. I would like to know what both of you are going to do next for yourself. Under the W word, we're reclaiming the word wellness, but we've discussed a lot of things. What are you going to do? We'll start with Kimberley, and then we'll go on to Ashley.
I might, because I've tried them before and then allowed myself to fall out of the habit. I might give cold showers another bash.
Yeah. I'm throwing out my charcoal.
Yay.
I'm not using that right, so it's time to let it go.
And I'm just going to try puppy yoga. That sounds great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in.
Great.
Ashley, it's been so lovely to have you on the show. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I've learned so much. Love
it. We've covered quite a lot today. We've gone from kind of activated charcoal through to you refusing the charcoal and gnawing on it midway through. But on a serious point, what is the one tip you would give our listeners in terms of wellness? Like the one thing you do that really does make you go, yeah, I feel better.
Oh gosh. I mean, for me, it's exercise. It's moving my body.
Any programs that you do that are really good for home workouts?
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially with the pandemic happening, so much was available online, isn't it? So my friends over at Cobox were doing online classes, and then I just do my own thing as well. I do little circuits with body weight but just getting my heart pumping really gets the endorphins going, like Kimberley said, and just makes me feel better. So that is my tip. And you never really regret a workout. Once you get there and you do it, you're not like, oh God, I wish I didn't do that. You never feel that way. So.
And you did some exercise videos through lockdown, didn't you? For kids.
Well, I did some dancing stuff. Yeah, I was getting people moving, again, because for me, that's what helps me. So, and there's been the whole scientific studies around dancing and, listening to music and how it does elevate your mood. So
do you dance to yourself? Can you imagine cranking it up? It'll be,
don't you?
You must have done it once.
No, I actually haven't.
Have you never done?
The only time I've done that is when I need to rehearse for a show. What's funny? Me and Kimberley were on holiday one time, and we were at No, sorry, yeah.
Not this Kimberley.
Kimberley
Casual.
Wyatt, yeah, from the Pussycat Dolls. We were on holiday one time together. This was years ago. And this beat came on and we looked at each other and we started nodding and we're like, how do we know this song? And it was Buttons. And it took us probably like 25, 30 seconds to realize how we knew the song. We kept looking at each other like, this is obviously before the reunion, but it was like many years after we had departed the group. So it was a weird experience. But yeah. So no, I don't listen to our songs on my downtime.
What I love is that, you know, your tip is really accessible to people. And I think I would like to say I found a workout where they, you know, they're like, you need these weights. And I was like, oh no, I haven't got the weights. And then I was like, I do. I've got 2 wine bottles. And
Yes,
so I'm like
you
pumping
do.
the wine bottles in my lounge. And it's like, look, you know, don't be restricted by the gear.
Absolutely. Do your wine workout and then have a sip afterwards. It's fine.
Yeah. That's how
It's called balance.
It's called balance. Amazing. Well, that's all we've got time for.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ashley. And thank you, Kimberley, for
Pleasure.
all the facts, not the fiction, the science, and for telling it how it is. Well, we have chats on the side about puppy yoga.
It's been good.
But it's been brilliant. And I think the thing I've loved most is that we set out to kind of reclaim the W word, wellness. And actually, it feels like it's been quite educational along the way. It's actually not just about reclaiming it. It's like, what is it? How does it work? How does it work for different people? And I think that's the big takeaway for me, is that it is different for each person, from the world's strongest man through to Pussycat Doll. You do you. So thank you so much for joining us. We have loved having you with us, listening. It's a little bit creepy. I was like, thanks for lending us your ear. But it has been brilliant. And we've really enjoyed like decoding kind of the wellness fads that are out there. Now, remember, if you loved this podcast, it is brought to you by Arla LactoFREE, and you can let us know how much you loved it. Don't tell us anything other than the love. On their social media, just give us a shout. Let us know you're listening. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you again soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you very much. Bye.